Hello, I am Raveler, and this is my first stream on Twitch. I'm very excited to be broadcasting live today on Twitch. We're going to be looking at a game called Frostpunk today. This is one of my favorites to play in the recent history, anyway. It is a post-apocalyptic city builder with a twist, and that twist is that the apocalypse that has happened has been a snowpocalypse, and so of course the things that have happened have caused a massive shutdown of all of society, and all that's left are these heating generators in the middle of the frozen wastelands. And today we're going to jump in and play the first scenario of Frostpunk, just to get a sense of how this game works and to have an opportunity to work together on it. But it is going to be, I've played maybe 100 hours of Frostpunk. I've really enjoyed this game. There's something about post-apocalyptic world that just gives me a sense of wanting to rebuild. And this is a fascinating game from that perspective because it offers choices, true moral choices that actually help us to make decisions as time goes on. And so I will encourage you, if you're on the stream or if you are catching up sometime later, to help me make some choices and help me figure out what those choices should be as we continue to play through. Now, I am familiar with the tech side of this a little bit more than the moral side, and so I will generally choose what tech goes next, but for moral decisions, I'd love your help. It'd be great. Also, for the sense of being able to do this well, I have my lucky bowler hat that's going to help us get into the scenario as we go here. There. Now we are ready for some Frostpunk. So, as I said, this is a post-apocalyptic set in a frozen wasteland, and we're actually going to set it. I think in the late 1800s is where they're trying to go for it. We're going to do a new story, a new home in story, and you'll get a sense of this through it as well. So, let's see, customize scenario. We'll do it on hard, just because I think hard is a good place to be. Post-apocalypse isn't supposed to be easy after all. Let's see if I can get these adjusted so where they're comfortable, but not the end of the world. How did I do it before? Yes, like that. Great. Okay, right, let's start, and without further ado, we'll take a look at what this game has to offer. A big part of this game is in trying to make things balanced between caring for people and making sure that you have enough resources to keep going. It's a really nice edge balance throughout most of it. I love that sense of you're not sure if you're making the right decision at the right time or what's happening, but you know that you want to do it right and you want to survive.
We roam the still, cold world. No horizon in sight. The rulers of old, stripped of pride and glory. It feels as yesterday we were turning the wheels of progress. Until the frost stopped it all. Suddenly, without a warning. When tides had changed, they changed for all of us, no matter wealth or class. We've lost our world to snow. And with it, our last traces of humanity. We bid farewell to plenty, and for those who remained came the time to adapt. We decided to leave our homes and head north. We roamed for weeks, maybe months, leaving behind all the things we once believed had made us. It was hope. pushed us forward. Slowly, step by step. We knew the cost of our journey, and we paid the price 100 times. Finally, the time has come to build the last city on Earth.
A new home. We fled from London and crossed the sea to reach the frozen north. On the way, our convoy was hit by a blizzard and scattered. A handful of us managed to reach the site of this generator, only to find it frozen solid and abandoned. Why is no one here? Did any of our people survive the blizzard? Are there any others out here? Whatever we do, we should expect the worst, now that the world as we know it has crumbled. We have to survive. And here is our new home, in the midst of a crater, as you can probably tell. It's been a little snowy out here. There's some clear spots, but not too much. Fight the cold. We need to get the generator working. It provides heat and power to other buildings. Without it, we'll freeze to death. Stockpile some coal and start the generator. Okay. So, our first task is to get the generator going because, not surprisingly, frozen wasteland, people don't survive long without heat. So we're going to pause for a moment just to take a look around and see what we've got going on here. Now, there's a lot on this screen. If you've not played Frostpunk before, it can be a little confusing about to see what's going on all around. But the first of these things is at the top of the screen. We've got our resources. We've got coal, we've got wood, we have steel, and we have steam cores. And we'll talk about steam cores in a moment. This has nothing to do with the video game, as you might expect. Video game platform, that is. Then over here we've got very important resource, raw food and food rations. We have to turn the raw food, I love this meat on a stick indicator, into a fork and knife. So we have to turn it from raw food into cooked food, basically. And we can go either vegetarian or carnivore or mix of both. People tend to like to have ration food. It's abstracted a little bit, I suppose. But this is our base. The city is down in this center of the crater, and we see our hub, our generator hub in the middle. This is basically a huge steam engine that produces heat. Instead of as waste heat, it's producing it as its main purpose. And then around there you see there's our people. And I love that you can click on each individual person. You can go here and say, hey, you are James Petty. Everything is fine, says James Petty. Well, it may not be for long. Click on the face to go locate them. Currently resting. No risk of getting ill. Well, that's good. Guess everyone arrived here in good spirits, but they're going to get cold quickly because they don't have homes. Now, we could click on each one of them individually, but that would take forever. You can also, go through one by one. I like to, early on, to check the list by clicking on the number down here. We've got 65 out of 80. That is 65 unemployed adults out of 80 total people. That includes 15 children that are here. Children don't work. Well, at least not without having some laws passed to do so. And we've got engineers, which are our technicians and our doctors and that sort of thing. We also have our workers, who do most of the grunt work of the society. And as this is late 1800s, those are pretty big classes. No nobles, per se, although there is a scenario that involves some nobles. This isn't one of them. Anyway, let's click here. Yes, this one. And see who we have. Maybe you recognize some of these names. I have anybody who was in the development phase was able to put their name in to be on the list. Doesn't look like my family's in this one yet. We'll find some other people in the wilderness. I love that one time I was playing this game and my name, my actual first and last name, popped up on the screen. And I got to see what I looked like in the late 1800s. Really crazy to have that happen. But it's not happened this time. That's okay. It's pretty rare. I think it's only happened to me once out of the 100 hours that I've been playing, so Pretty neat. So scattered around our base, we've got several sets of different resources. We have wood crates here. We've got some steel here. More wood crates, steel, coal. We need to pick up some of this coal, so let's assign some workers to go get it at 100% efficiency. Still fairly warm. I know at 4 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit is not all that warm, but compared to how cold it's going to get, this is pretty warm indeed. We can see there is no heat right now, so everything is uniformly cold. Chilly, as it's putting it on this overlay. So we've got this coal being picked up. We are going to want to look at providing some gathering posts that can pick up multiples of these things. We'll get this steel that's off by itself here. Send another 15 out that way. We need lots of wood. I'm going to send wood there. Let's see, we've got 20 people left, so we're going to send 5 more workers to go get that coal. Yeah, and then we'll send the 15 engineers we have over to this wood crate. Maybe not. We'll send 10 of them. We want to keep 5 behind to do the building that we're going to need to do in just a moment. Well, maybe we can keep them going. All right, we'll start off with everybody engaged as it happens. Okay, so let's see. What other things do we need to worry about? Yes, we've got our economy overview. This tells us about coal, wood, steel, food, health, and housing. At the moment, there's no housing, so we don't see anything there. Coal management. The generator's not on, so we would gain 204 coal per day without burning any. We are going to want to burn it. However, we have our book of laws, and at the moment, we need to find ways to adapt and get involved in laws going forward to make things better, but also maybe a little worse at the same time. We've got a series of things we can choose from the beginning. I almost always start with emergency shift, just because we need to get tech moving as quickly as possible, and that takes an emergency shift to do it. Now, sometimes I will hold off on that if we need to have the kids working. But with kids, we have the choice, and this, you can see these 2 half circles tell us we have a choice. We have a choice between safe jobs for kids, and we'd put them to work, but at least they could only work in places like cookhouses or hothouses. Or we can send them to a shelter where they will stay in the shelter during the day and won't cause any mischief, but they're not doing any work, so they're kind of a wasted resource. However, later on, we can apprentice them to the medics or the engineers. So that might be the way that we go, especially since that tends to make them happier. We also have these options for soup or food additives. This helps to stretch the food a little longer. Food additives is terrible. This is adding sawdust into the meal. And yeah, it makes it go a little further, but that is gross, and people do not get nutrition out of that. Soup thins it down with water. We've got so much snow around, it makes sense that we'd have plenty of extra water also. Yet the soup, people don't like to eat it. As you see, they eat it, they become discontented. What about food? They eat it, they get sick more often. Yeah, the last thing we want is people getting sick more often. Being a little unhappy may be a better option than having to deal with the rest of this. And then we can build a fighting arena, which makes people happy because they can take out some of their aggression. Cemetery, we don't have any dead people yet, so we're not worried about that. And then down here, we've got the option to either sustain life or to do radical treatment. And my option almost always is radical treatment, since this gives people a chance to get better, not take up room in the medical facilities. And later on, even if we have to amputate a leg, we can give people a crutch. They can move around. It still seems like the best option. Anyway, in this game, I think we're going to go emergency shift. This gives us a chance to get the extended shift next. It just opens up a lot of things. We want to do this quickly because there's now a cooldown. You can see it's going to be 18 hours until we can choose a new law. They don't want us filling up the books so quickly or something. Trying to think back, there were some historical references of leaders who changed the laws too rapidly and got into some major trouble. But then I think of Justinian, who spent his entire life putting together a code of laws That was the basis for law in the Western world for a long time, because he did it right. That was the Eastern Roman Emperor Justinian. Okay, so we've got everybody assigned. It's time to start work for the day. Zoom in here. See them carve through. Work, work, work until you die, says Andy Page. Isabel Pratt, 24 hours on the job? Insane, but that's our lot. Well, yeah, I'm not going to ask you to do it all the time. Let's see, and 20 wood. Let's see, tech, workshop, got our 5 steel, and oh, it's 15 wood. Could have done that sooner. Once again, I like to get these buildings in quickly if I can. I scoot that over there. I do like to have clean lines though, so we'll do it there. And then we'll take 5 engineers off this wood crate, since I'm just going to head back and build that up. All of the buildings in your city here, they need to be connected by roads. This little plank here is road, because in addition to the road, it carries steel pipes, and those steel pipes allow for the transmission of heat, fuel, depending on options you choose during the game. So yeah, we're building up our workshop. The workshop's going to allow us to do some tech work. Oh, this headphone situation is rough. There we go. Hopefully that'll work for a while. Just fall off. All right, workshop's complete. Now, let's add those 5 engineers right in there. We're going to tell them, I want you to research faster gathering. This will make people gather faster. Employing better tools and methods, people gathering resources from coal piles, wood crates, and steel wreckage will work 15% faster, whether using gathering posts or not. So this is just really going to improve the amount of things we can bring in our people. Oh, we should probably turn on the generator now that we've got some coal there too. That'll heat up, melt off the snow that's there, give us a nice ring of warmth that travels outward. It takes a little bit of time to engage. It also gives you a little bit of time to fix any problems if it happens to break. There we go. Level 1 heat achieved. People aren't going to be so terribly upset. Okay, what else do we need to do? It is almost the end of the day. We do need to be able to cook some food. If we build this now, it's going to go to waste, because they won't cook at night. They will hunt at night. So let's build a hunter's hut. I like to build the hunter's hut just about as far out as I can get, without breaking resources. As you can see, it says here, if you put the hunter's hut here, you're going to destroy resource sources. It's not adjacent to a street. We'll handle that in just a moment. We are going to want a gathering post out here. Hopefully that's the right place for it. I'll undo it if we need to. Should have really drawn this out first. Yeah, quite the right place. But we'll go here. There. Now, we don't have anyone that's free to work on it, but people will end their shift shortly. I think they end at 1700. We can see how much of this resource remains. Currently at 73, ticking down. And we are indeed going to tell you, I want you to research all night. Go. Okay, we've got some things happening. No roof over our heads. Captain, people are understandably concerned about the lack of shelter. They're falling ill from sleeping outside in this terrible cold. We better do something about it. We have 3 options. Provide some shelter, provide shelter for everyone, or I won't address this right now. The second option, we have 2 days to provide shelter for 80 people. First one, 2 days to provide shelter for 40 people. We are going to do some shelter, and they will be happy to get that. It's going to be tough. People from our convoy. Family torn apart. Sir, a woman came forward after we built the workshop. She said that her husband and daughter didn't reach the city with the main group, but she's sure they're still out there. She wants to join the first scout team we'll send out, and she urges you to hurry. Do what we can. Now, scouting is going to be important. That'll bring more people in, but until we can get them there, that's going to be tough.